Janetto, I'm Christina, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. If you're new, welcome in. If you're returning, welcome back. No matter how long you've been here, I always appreciate your time. I'm so excited to bring you some amazing images from a trip that I went on again with the MWR um, recreational group at the base where I work, and it was kind of a spur of the moment trip for us. I wasn't really planning on anything, and then it was the long weekend for Veterans Day. And because Veterans Day for people in the United States is November the 11th, no matter what day that falls on, it's always November the 11th. But it is a federal holiday, so if it falls on a weekend, it is observed either the Friday before, if it's the Saturday, or the Monday after, if it's the Sunday. So, for example, this year, November the 11th was on Saturday, right, in 2023. And next year, in 2024, as long as it's not a leap year, I can't ever keep that straight. If it's not a leap year, then it will be on Sunday, and so we will observe it Monday. Either way, I thought to myself, oh, that would be great, fun. I know it's Sunday, but so it's just before I have to go back to work. My daughter has to go back to school, but it will be something because we're going anywhere. Lots of people here want to travel to short distance places over long weekends, and I just don't have it like that. I have to plan in advance very carefully for the things that I'm doing. So spur of the moment trips just aren't really my thing, as like hopping on a plane kind of trips, but like a drive, if someone else is willing to do it, sure, why not? Because I'm not a fan of driving long distance anywhere. But I will, I just don't like to do it. Anyway, when I was looking at the calendar of events, there was one that was a hike and a cooking class, but it was a level 1 hike, so it wasn't like an extraneous hike. Extraneous is not a word. Strenuous. Extra strenuous is what I meant to say. Hike, but with the cooking class, you had to be 16 or older. My daughter's obviously not 16, so we couldn't go to that. That was on Saturday. Then on Sunday, there was one for like different factories and farms. So it was like a family day event. And the last family day thing that we went to was the pistachio harvest in Bronte. And that was nice. I mean, I did a video on it. And this one, you were going to multiple places. So I thought, oh, that would be fun for us to do and learn more about, Sicily. And so we signed up and we went. The one thing that I really like about the family day events is that the children are free. So if they're between the ages of 3 and 13, sometimes it's 15, but they're free. So you just pay for the adult, which is nice for my pocket. Anyway, we went to the first place we went to was a honey collective factory, I guess. So they don't really make honey there because people don't make honey, bees do. But they have several hives, and they collect the honey and do different things with it. So We got to hear about it, and I'll be showing some pictures as we go along. The gentleman spoke in Italian, and then the guide that was with us translated for us. And my daughter and I really love honey. I love it in my tea. It's great when I have a sore throat, tea, a little bit of lemon, and some honey, and I feel so much better. It may not have any restorative qualities, but it's so soothing. But he talked to us about how they collect the honey, and he showed us how they did it. But he also talked to us about how with bees, you have the queen and all of the other worker bees, and how they lay so many eggs. The queen lays so many eggs a day, and then how the honey is sealed off once the bees have made it in order to preserve it. So they seal it off with a little bit of wax. And he was showing us this and all of this honeycomb. And then he was telling us about how there was, they have sort of, well, not sort of, they call it a gentleman's agreement. So there's not really a contract that's signed here, but in order for the bees to have different kinds of honey, they will take the hives and place them in different farms. So if they want them to have wildflower honey, which is honey of 1,000 flowers in Italian. When you translate it from Italian, they will take them to a wildflower field. If they want them to have honey that has herbs like thyme or basil or something like that, they'll take them to a field with that in it. And the gentleman's agreement is if the hive is there, then the farmer gets some of the honey from that area for letting the bees be there, because you're getting your flowers pollinated, which keeps your farm going, which is important. But also the bees make the honey, and that's important to the person who's using the honey. So that's why they call it a gentleman's agreement, right? Because you're both serving each other's purposes as well as your own. So I thought that was kind of funny. They did say that the bees here in Sicily are very closely related to the African black bee, because at one time Sicily was part of the African continent, and then tectonic plates and shifts and things, and now Sicily is an island. But the bee, right, was thought to be trapped on the island, and it has evolved somewhat, but that is the bee that is here in Sicily, the main bee that is used for honey production and other things. They did tell a story about how there was a bee, a black bee, that ended up in, was it South America, and it mixed with a different kind of bee. They didn't say the kind of bee, mixed with a different kind, and that's what made those like killer bees that we had several years ago, if you remember those. My daughter was a little disappointed in the fact that we didn't get to see any bees, because we have been to a butterfly house very close to our house, and they had bees, and you could put on the suit, and she absolutely loved that, and of course she wanted to do it, and it was like, Candyman with the bees all over her, and woohoo! But she loved it. So she was disappointed that we didn't get to do that, but she did get to try lots of honey, and they put honey on all kinds of things. Unfortunately, I had to be very careful because one of the main products here in Sicily is oranges, and something I'm allergic to. So I had to be careful with the honey, because some of it was orange blossom honey, which I'm not going to touch because I don't know what oranges they used. So I just stayed away from it. But the honey that they had on the honeycomb that we tried was wildflower honey. Oh my god, it was delicious. And I did buy some honey as well as a vial. It starts with a P, and I don't know how to say it in English. I don't know how it translates in English, but in Italian, I can't say the word. It physically won't come out of my mouth. But they're like throat drops. And so they had some with alcohol and some without alcohol. You know, the ones without alcohol was for the children. And I don't like it if I have a sore throat for that burn and you have like chloroseptic spray or something. So I got some without alcohol. But it's used for sore throats and illnesses and things. And so I thought that would be kind of nice to have around the house. So the second place that we went to was this place, the bee area, the honey was outside of Caltagirone. Caltagirone? I'll put it in the description box. It's C-A-L-A Tigirone. Caltagirone. I spelled it wrong. Anyway, doesn't matter. I can't say it. I always want to say Caltagirone, but it's not. Anyway, we went into the actual town, and in the town we went to a ceramics place. This Caltagirone, I'm gonna get it right by the end of the video, is known for ceramics. It's one of the biggest ceramics places in all of Sicily, and it's very world famous as well, this town is. We were told on the way there that this particular town has been pressing for a very long time to be its own separate province. There are 9 provinces in Sicily, and they are part of the 20 or 21 provinces of Italy. And Caltagirone wants to be its own province. So they have done lots of things, like have very big hospitals and lots of resources for their people to try to be its own province. But it's too close as a city to the other bigger cities for the other provinces. So the government always says no. Every time they apply, the government says no. But one of the things that they are famous for, and they use that, right, of course, to their advantage, is ceramics. Caltagirone is part of the province of Catania, which is where I am, in the province of Catania. And Catania also plays up any people who come on cruises or anything like that to Caltagirone for ceramics. So when we went there, it was amazing. The shop was very, very tiny, and I was very, very worried about all of these children in this tiny little shop. They all did fine, but it just takes one, usually mine, but I was very, very nervous. Anyway, we got to see some actual production, which was nice to see, because we didn't get to see that at the place where we had the honey. And then the man made a vase, and they talked about the process of throwing the clay, then you have to fire it, and then you have to paint it, and you have to fire it again, and all of the time and effort that it takes, especially with some of the bigger pieces. It can take a month or more for some of the bigger pieces, depending on how intricate they are and how many colors you have and all these things. And I did purchase a few small things. One of them, hopefully once I get my craft room cleaned up, I'll be able to put in my craft room. It's a ceramic cup. It's about like this big, and it has a really pretty scroll pattern on it. And I want to put hooks in it, or different, pens or pencils or something in it, because it's not big enough to use like in a kitchen. It's really small, but it would fit some hooks or some pens or something. And then we got a magnet, and my daughter got a butterfly. You can put some like fishing wire through it and hang it up. And we haven't done that yet, but that's the idea, because it has holes that go through it. And they had so many things. It was so beautiful in there. I fell in love with this lamp. They had several lamps, but they had one that was like a teal color, and the light bulb was inside of it. And the little holes, right? You could see the light coming through. And I really, really wanted one of those, but they only had one, and they wouldn't sell it because it was the only one they had. And I was like, oh, so that made me sad. Anyway, but it was lovely to see not the guy that was doing the on the wheel. There was an older gentleman. He was great with the kids. You can tell that he's done this multiple times, is showing off his product, right, and also entertaining children. It was fun. And they also got some clay themselves to take home and play with and so forth. And then the last stop that we went to was a little disappointing. It's where we had lunch, but it's a saffron field. Now they grow other things, different herbs, oregano, basil, thyme, and other things. And they had this slideshow that they showed us, but because of the heat, and this happened again with the pistachio farm that we went to, because of the heat and the lack of rain, the saffron wasn't ready to show. But they did show us a really pretty slideshow, and I will put up some pictures of that. And it was lovely. There was some saffron. There was some chocolate. I actually have the chocolate right here. This one is dark chocolate with cinnamon, and it is really creamy and really good. It's very different than the Modican chocolate that I've had, or any dark chocolate that I've had before. Like, I actually want to eat that. It's not bitter and dry in my mouth. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. My daughter really enjoyed it. And we did get a bottle of saffron. I have it downstairs. They were lovely in sharing all of their things with us. And there was a lovely meal. That's where we had it there. And I took a picture of the name because they also have like a B&B that you can book, which is upstairs in this place, to stay in the middle of a Sicilian farmland, if you would like to. And so that might be something neat that some friends and I get together and do at some point. But it was lovely, and I can imagine when it's all filled with saffron flowers and oregano and basil and all these things, that it is just beautiful, and it smells amazing. I just can't. I have my own small amount of herbs outside, and I love it when they're all in bloom, and it's beautiful, and it smells amazing. So I can only imagine giant fields of it, right? But that's what I have for you today. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and I hope I can bring you something else again really soon. Be the change you wish to see in the world, everyone. Ciao bella!